All right, welcome to Witchpolice Radio. I'm here with two people who are involved. Oh, well, actually, before I even get to who you are, one of the things that has kind of happened since the pandemic happened is that a lot of people have been making use of video and streaming and different ways of recording and putting their music out there. And I've actually been talking to quite a few people who have used this method, whether it's recording live performances and releasing them later, or trying to get live streams happening. Even now, after things have eased up, venues are open, shows are happening, and the two guests on the show today are people who are doing that very thing. You have a series that's just started, launched with a live performance by the Greg McPherson Band, and you have a pretty awesome lineup of local artists coming up soon. I think the best way to kick this off is if the two of you want to introduce yourselves and maybe give a bit of background about the project.
I'm Cam Loeppky, and had this idea for this video series, and I hope people watch it and enjoy it.
I'm Mike, Requeima. I just kind of help out with all this stuff.
Well, like I was saying in the beginning there, I mean, you have a pretty lengthy list of artists that you've either recorded or will be recording, and kicking it off with Greg is a pretty big one as far as like a well known, well loved local name and someone who's been involved in the music scene for a long time. I guess the first thing I wanted to ask was, what was the selection of artists like? How did you choose who you were going to be featuring in this? And yeah, let's go from there.
Well, it started that it was Manitoba Film and Music grant for sustainability for my recording studio, and I'm not the most professional grant writer, so I got Greg McPherson to help me write the grant, and I got it by, I'm not sure how, but I guess he's a great writer. And I said, "You're going to be the first band that we do." And he's like, "No, it's okay. Like, help these other bands." I'm like, "No, like, you help me, I'm going to help you." So I kind of forced them into coming to play.
Forced them to help and then forced them to
Yeah, exactly.
But aside from him, I mean, that seems like an obvious reason to get him to be on it first. But did you have, are these just bands that you listen to and like, or were you trying to aim for certain genres and demographics?
Well, I'm a fan of all the bands that I work with, so was a pretty easy selection so far.
Yeah, and a lot of people involved in the bands are people that we work or collaborate with, like at the Goodwill, or just friends or friends of friends, just stuff within our circle.
So who do you have coming up as some examples of other artists that are in the pipeline?
Releasing tomorrow is Fold Paper, which is a band that Shell, he actually works at the Goodwill.
Okay.
And it's a newer project. And the drummer is the drummer from the Greg McPherson Band. So Rob was telling me about it and said, like, this is really good. Like, you should listen to it. And I said, I got a better idea. I'm going to listen to it and record it at the same time. Yeah. And then we have like Amos the Kid, who worked at the Goodwill a million years ago.
Shelly and Alex from
Alex
Paper also both work at here.
I forgot Alex worked here, is new in that band.
So it's a very part of the very incestuous local music scene, right? Everyone's got connections with each other. The
music scene in Winnipeg is a very incestuous group already. So,
but we branch out from time to time as well. Like there's some less connected.
Yeah,
sounds like Tom is arriving.
Yeah. And we have Anthony OKS from the Lytics.
Yeah,
I've worked with a few times before, and I did sound for them in Germany last summer. So we've become good friends, and he's gonna do a session with us.
Cool.
Is this microphone too far away now?
That's Tom Elvers.
What's up? How's it going? Well, maybe now that you're here, if you want to introduce yourself and just give a little info on what you're doing with the project.
My name's Tom Elvers. I'm in charge of, I guess, the video aspect and more of the visual aspect of the project.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm just doing the camera work and the editing and the color and stuff. And Mike's helping me out with the logos and all the visuals, that visual side of it.
Well, how much work goes into each one of these? Because I mean, you have it's a full live performance, and you have other footage of the city and things kind of interspersed in there. It's got to be a pretty labor intensive project to get the sound right, get the video right, get the logos, things like that.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say we put a lot of hours into it. I mean, it helps that we started in the summertime. We started shooting back in, when was it? August or September? Or
Yeah, I
something like
remember was watching the B-roll stuff, and we're all wearing short sleeve shirts and sweating. It's like, what the
Yeah.
hell?
Yeah.
When was that?
Yeah, so it helps that we weren't, on a super huge time pinch for it. So we were really just sort of banking performances, and even like a lot of the B-roll, the driving around, like we got that in an afternoon. I think we just sort of did a couple laps around where the studio is and went down Selkirk, went down Maine, came back around
Down Portage, yeah.
down Portage. Yeah. So
How important was that, having that kind of footage in there too, just sort of showing the city, showing the area, showing the neighborhood, because it adds to it, right?
yeah, I mean, there are lots of other people doing performances in the city, and I mean, showcasing good live music and local bands, which is great. But there's like, I guess that's sort of the cinematic element of showcasing the city for other people who aren't from here, who don't know anything about our city, and even for the people who are from here. Just couple images, a couple spots. It sort of ties things a little bit together, especially for Greg. Greg was a good one for those shots to go on. So a lot of his music is really about the city and about what's going on here.
Yeah, and I think at first Cam didn't really want people to know where the studio was, but was that kind of tossed out the window? I don't know.
People still don't know exactly where it is.
Yeah.
We know roughly.
Just because it's in like a warehouse in the north end,
Right.
kind of like built into a giant warehouse space.
Yeah, it was like a 10,000-foot warehouse space, and I built like a whole space inside of the space, like an insulated it, because it was
Right,
just
right.
freezing cold and stuff, right? So it's inside this other. It used to be a bowler camper factory where they were made back in the
Now you're
70s.
giving hints. Now you're giving hints.
Well, that they kind of not the location of the studio specifically, but just that idea of sort of showing where this is, and that identifying the place with that footage. I guess, who was this originally intended for? Like, are you hoping to showcase Winnipeg and Winnipeg artists to a wider audience, or is it mainly for people who are already here, already having opportunities to see some of these bands locally on a semi-regular basis?
Well, I think that originally I thought that it would just be Winnipeg style, but now that I see it and hear it, I think it looks 1,000 times better than I thought it would. So I think that I hope that we can continue doing this after these few are done, and it can be a national thing, international thing, Like, I know the viewers can be from wherever, but I'm hoping to get. We also have another band lined up from Edmonton,
From BC.
BC.
Oh, cool.
And we're going to be recording, so is becoming a national thing.
But also, like there's such a viewership like outside of Winnipeg because there's so many like expats, so many Winnipeggers live all over the place now, and they want like to see that piece of what's going on at home, right? Like they want to see those little clips of the city too.
That's what
with the bands, and they want to know what's going on.
That's what I think will draw people to the videos even more, is like, oh God, remember that? Like those, like the slow motion, like it was like literally 40 below that day we shot that stuff. Like you can just see how cold it is.
We tried flying the drone, and
we'll be able to get a lot more B-roll like once the weather chills out a little.
But having that cold weather footage, that kind of really adds to the Winnipegness of it all too, right?
For
Definitely,
sure.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it's not easy to shoot in the wintertime, but it definitely pays off when you get some of those cold shots.
Is this something that, I know you just kind of touched on this a minute ago, but is this something that you hope to continue sort of in an ongoing way? Like, I realize you have a bunch that you've already done and a few more on the way, but once those are over, do you see this as an ongoing project, as something you'll keep doing sort of indefinitely?
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope
It
so.
would be nice, like, I know for the audio, it's about 5 hours per song to mix.
Okay.
And so, like, the next one is 4 songs, so that's 20 hours of my time. So hopefully that it pays off where I can at least pay for that time where I'm missing other work to do, you know?
Yeah.
And I like Tom is even longer with the video editing.
Yeah,
Like the shooting of it is so fast, like it's like a whirlwind.
A
And then-
few hours. a
Yeah, and
couple
then all of
hours.
a sudden you're like, okay, I can breathe. And then it's like, oh, I gotta sit at the screen and edit all this stuff and put it all to make sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
At first, we were just sort of still just coming out of the haze of the pandemic and stuff, and we were just, I mean, even looking at the stuff, the first ones that I shot, I was kind of rusty. We were just kind of like, we're not throwing it together, but just sort of, you know, just showing up. But now that it's like Cam said, you know, when we sort of put it all together and realize like this is pretty good, we should take this a little bit more seriously. And just even having the studio, like I've been doing video for a lot of years, whereas, you know, audio is really what I was doing first. I graduated from Mid-Ocean back in 2009, so that was
Okay.
kind of what I saw myself doing, and then I kind of went down the video road. So now having the studio with Cam and having like a space where it's kind of the meeting of these two things, where I can do the audio and can do the video, it's kind of like I see myself putting a lot more effort and time into this project than, you know, other things in the past. They piddle out or other things come about, but I feel like, yeah, like, you know, if we can get some sort of funding and get some money rolling in, I think is the biggest thing. And then yeah, we'd love to keep
Yeah.
doing it.
I think the hope now that these are starting to drop is to get some kind of funding, or maybe get some more grants even, or sponsors, something to help kind of pay for it, because it is a lot of work.
For sure. Do you have at this point like kind of a wish list of bands you'd like to do with this project, or is the goal sort of to more so focus on bands that are already working with the studio? Just because I imagine that is a little easier because you already have the connection there.
Right. I would, to me, I would rather have like those bands that are we're going to be working in the studio already, that we can already take advantage of, like, oh, let's take a day of this session and do a live thing.
Yeah.
Like that with Block Parents, a new band, and because they were already recording. But I would like to have just like bands and artists that we hand select, you know, like,
And also keep it like pretty broad, like keep it like a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and even just not, whether it be this series or not, you know, just drawing attention to the studio, you know, just another thing for another place for bands to go check out on the way through town, whether it be local or on tour. You know, I know Winnipeg is a place when you're touring that it'd be easy to skip.
Yeah.
Just depending on, you know, like, unless you are tapped in and know what's going on, like there's just not a whole lot going on here. So for whether you're, you know, obviously the smaller bands hopefully don't skip, but yeah, just another place for people to go when they come here, and things to do, you know, record, get video content.
and just more genres. Like I'm pretty focused recording wise on a certain genre that I like and
Yeah.
feel like I know what's going on. But I'm open to doing, like, we have some hip hop stuff and we have some
Oh yeah, I got my
like country-esque kind of stuff, and we did some singer-songwriter stuff.
Crab Skull shirt on.
I
Yeah.
have one of those hoodies. Those are awesome. Yeah.
Shows up Crab Skull.
Yeah, he's also a part of the studio, but he's doing his own thing and is not involved with this, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, shout out to that. We got Argyle Lodge is the other half of Argyle Studio, I guess the other control room. So that's where Crab Skull's working out of.
Cool. What's the best way for people to find this now? I mean, I know it's on YouTube. You have various social media accounts that are connected to the show. How do people track it down?
argylestudio.ca will have all the new videos and links and
Yeah, it'll just link you to the YouTube, and it'll have all the
Yeah.
contact information. and
Also
everything on
subscribe to the YouTube channel.
oh yeah,
there. Yeah, subscribe to our YouTube.
We
That
have
would be
like-
the best way.
47 subscribers since the Greg video dropped. So
Yeah, we're trying to hit 100 so we can hit official status or whatever and get our stream. You can get our streaming ability and all that.
yeah,
And,
The release schedule is once a week.
I think that's how
it's
which-
tentatively planned as once a week. Yes.
Yeah, there should be something coming out tomorrow.
Cool.
I can get it uploaded here.
Well, by the time this comes out, it'll already be over then. So, but is Thursday kind of the day you're aiming for weekly for releases? Or?
I guess it's
Thursdays and Fridays.
Thursdays and Fridays.
But
yeah.
Tom has his editing computer at the Goodwill, and the internet is so spotty here. Being downtown is like
Right.
the whole uploads thing is like takes hours, and the internet here, if it drops, you got to start all over again. Like that first one you did like 3 times or something.
Well, I guess it's something too that you just you probably find ways as you go along too to speed up the process and
Absolutely, it's been getting easier each video has been getting smoother and smoother. Like I said, I was a little rusty coming out of COVID, but yeah, it's definitely coming together and yeah, it's streamlining the process and just learning how to work smarter.
Works
Right on.
good.
Cool.